wouldn't be biased, sound biased, but I'm rocking with Tank, and he ain't got to look for Zepeda. I see Zepeda running into a lot of shit if he was to fight Tank,
Yeah. Would the pressure be a problem? Because it seemed like the pressure was a problem with Lamont.
It wouldn't be a problem with Tank. Tank ain't got to look for him. Tank way stronger. Lamont hit Zepeda with some stuff, man, that I don't think he could take it if it was Tank.
Roach was coming off 2 draws in fights, certainly against Tank. I thought he won. Tank Davis is a very, very talented fighter. Pitbull is a really tough guy and a resourceful fighter. 2 draws, he could have been 2-0. And Zepeda, it's not that he got outboxed by Shakur Stevenson. Everyone gets outboxed by Shakur Stevenson. But his pressure style against a really good boxer, puncher, he's not a big puncher, a sharp puncher, a guy who's a technician. I think it's a drawish. It was far from a drawish kind of fight.
After having the experience of Shakur Stevenson, a lot of fighters don't do this. A lot of camps don't do this. We got to come back better. We got to come back different. I
think Tank could catch him, but I think that's a tough fight. And I wouldn't be surprised if Williams Zepeda beats Gervonta Tank Davis.
What do you think about that fight?
That's what I'm saying. If it's easy to make it, make the fight, and let's go.
The lightweight division was just flipped on its head, and the entire landscape of boxing has completely changed overnight. What was supposed to be a setup for a massive showdown between Gervonta Tank Davis and Lamont Roach turned into an absolute scene in Las Vegas. Williams Zepeda didn't just win a vacant belt, he completely shattered the division's narrative by dragging Roach through hell over 12 grueling rounds. Now, with Roach's hype train derailed, the fight game is demanding one thing: Zepeda's relentless volume engine stepping into the ring against Tank Davis's terrifying one-punch knockout power.
So now he's champion. Tank knock him out cold. A ugly knockout.
Zepeda?
Yeah. Tank knock him out cold. I'm talking about an ugly one. Family got knocked out. Arm behind the back.
When the bell rang in Las Vegas, Lamont Roach actually looked like a tactical genius for the first 6 minutes. He was rolling, slipping, and catching Zepeda coming in with slick right hands and crisp check hooks. But boxing isn't a 2-round sport. By round 3, Zepeda turned up an unbearable pace, throwing almost 900 punches across the fight and trapping Roach along the ropes. Roach tried to shell up and rely on his elite defense, but the sheer physical wear and tear broke him down. Zepeda wasn't just throwing blindly either. He showed subtle, dangerous footwork, creating angles and stepping out of range to render Roach's counters completely useless. By the championship rounds, Roach was tapping his gloves together in pure frustration, helpless against a human snowstorm.
Very few people, I think, expected him to walk away with this fight 10-2, 9-3, and he did. But he had a really nice step back game, and there was one more. So in round 1, Lamont Roach, he's touching the body with the straight right hand. He has the pace nice and slow, and that was a good feeling out round. It was a close round. But then Zepeda began to up the volume, and then he really had his first big momentum swing in the 3rd round and carried the fight from that point on. Lamont Roach, he had a good 6th round. He landed a couple of big left hooks because Zepeda, for a minute there, began to give up his range and his height and began to not so much fall in, but began to smother Lamont Roach and just stay in his chest. And that let Roach get off his left hook big time with 2 big shots in the 6th round that Zepeda took well, but that was a Roach round to at least stem the momentum for a minute. But Zepeda was smart enough to go back to keeping him on the end of the jab, taking a step out of range every now and then resetting his pressure. Murataya did that well.
The immediate fallout from ringside sent shockwaves through the division, with fighters and analysts instantly weighing in on what went wrong. In his post-fight admission, Roach candidly admitted that he mistakenly wrote Zepeda off as a one-trick pony, confessing that Zepeda's new lateral movement completely caught him off guard and took away his ability to counter.
We just couldn't get it going, be honest with you. We just couldn't kick. We wasn't getting it going tonight. We couldn't kick in gear. But he fought good. We battled back, but he was stealing them rounds with little flurries, like 2 or 3 different sets where he would get those early rounds. I think would swing his way, and that's what the judges seen.
Why do you think you guys couldn't get it going? What do you think was missing there?
I mean, he slipped. You know, he was slipping good, but he wasn't coming back like he normally do. We'll talk more about it. I watched the fight with him, getting his head, see what was going on. But it was opportunities that we left on the table, a lot of them, and for some reason he just couldn't get it going.
Yeah, you know, the volume of Zepeda is always like a difficult thing to handle. But how was he feeling with that pressure as the rounds kept going?
It wasn't, boy. Actually, it wasn't to me. I don't think he was as busy as he normally be. So it wasn't even a volume. We neutralized it a little bit, but I don't think it was that. We go back, you see, we had a lot of opportunities that we didn't capitalize on, and a lot of stuff we worked on. I just got to talk to him. I got to watch the tape with him and see, you know, exactly what was going on. But we just weren't clicking tonight.
What did he say to you after the fight? How is he feeling?
He a little down. You know, he didn't feel like he didn't perform at his best. You know, he a little upset. Of course, he chased greatness. You know, he one of them throwback fighters. He getting there with anybody. This is not the end of that road for us. You know, this is not the last chapter in our book. We'll be back stronger than ever. We're gonna talk about it, see what actually went wrong, and fix things.
Do you think, you know, now looking at it, do you think he should have boxed and moved a little bit more? I know at times when he was against the ropes, it might have worked against him because Zepeda could have racked up points there with the judges.
That's what I'm saying. When we did do it, we slipped the first 3 or 4 shots and we didn't come back with nothing. So, you know, of course, when somebody throw the 6, 7, 8 punch, you know, you're bound to get something in. But we didn't capitalize off the misses early on, and it changed. We didn't punch with them like we planned on.
Meanwhile, Shakur Stevenson took to social media to remind fans why he defeated Zepeda a year ago, noting that his superior range and tall frame allowed him to control the center of the ring in a way Roach simply couldn't due to height and reach limitations. Rising sensation Abdullah Mason offered a more brutal tactical critique, pointing out that while Roach shelled up defensively, he constantly missed wide-open body opportunities that could have slowed the Mexican powerhouse down.
I don't know. I wasn't locked in for the full fight, but from what I seen, I feel like Roach was holding his punches, and I feel like that's the reason why Zepeda might get the dub. He just letting them go, and you know, he threw way more punches and a lot more landing. But the punches I seen Roach land were much cleaner. He was just landing one at a time.
Hey, so what would you do? You seen this fight, right? What would you do differently?
Win, try to win.
Like how? Like explain what you would do.
With a bigger appetite.
This is an opportunity right here.
Come on with a bigger appetite.
What do you think Roach's problem is? What do you think he needs to work on?
I'm not sure. I don't know what his game plan coming into this fight was, so you know, you have to ask Roach that. But I feel like there's definitely some things, technical stuff that he could have done a little differently. Like I said, I feel like he was holding his punches a little bit, and a lot of stuff I felt like was there. But you know, it was a good fight.
Are you looking to unify with the winner as soon as they announce it? Is that your plan?
There's a lot of possibilities in my division right now, but I'm definitely open to that, for sure. Most definitely.
What about? Despite the loss for Roach, the boxing world quickly realized that Zepeda taking that WBC strap actually set up a far more explosive mega fight. For months, fans debated if Tank Davis was avoiding high-volume pressure fighters. Now Zepeda stands as the ultimate test, a pressure cooker with a non-stop motor against a tactical sniper who only needs one clean shot to turn off the lights. The contrast in styles creates an instant classic on paper. Can Zepeda smother Tank before Tank lands the ultimate equalizer?
Yeah. Zepeda, his positioning, his cutting off the ring, his use of his shoulders and his boxing technique. He outboxed, as you and Bug were talking about. He outboxed the boxer, and people get confused because when a guy's coming forward, they think he's not boxing. No. But you can box coming forward, and he did it.
He kept control of the space in front, you know what I mean? He was dropping feints, then he was attacking at the right times. Like, he just wasn't just coming straight in, you know, and just getting hit or clipped it. He was, like, respected what Roach was bringing, you know, to the game. One of the things that I saw in the opening was that he kept throwing this check right hook, like this lead right hook, right? And he wanted to keep Roach right in front of him, you know what I mean, to be able to land up this backhand. Because if you allow the orthodox fighter to get around to your weak side, that's where his advantage is. He knew that going in, but you can clearly see that he learned so much from that Shakur Stevenson fight. And I was just telling Shady in the back, I said, man, look, when you have big fights and you fight against different guys and they do certain things that kind of like, you go, whoa, dang, I'm gonna take that.
taking that.
I'm gonna take that, right? He took a lot of things from the Shakur fight, man. Defense, you know, he's more responsible defensively, I thought. His movement, small little angles on the inside. I just thought it was a perfect game plan. He executed it, man, and he looked brilliant.
Man, Zepeda looked really good. And Mike, they were talking on the broadcast about the time he took off. And a lot of times that sounds like an excuse, right? But like, oh, there's always an excuse a fighter's ego needs to make to explain a loss. But he looked rejuvenated. What did you think of his performance?
Yeah, Max, that was one of the rare times, I think, where the layoff did the fighter well rather than being ring rust. And Golden Boy, I want to give them credit. They've done an excellent job, I think, building Zepeda into the fighter he is right now. 2 fights with Tevin Farmer, controversial in the first fight, much more definitive in the second fight. He fights Shakur Stevenson. This was the best version, and the Mexican pressure fighter is one of our favorite archetypes in boxing, right? And that was really one of the best versions we've seen of a Mexican pressure fighter in years.
That's where Tank's longtime co-trainer, Kenny Ellis, entered the chat, completely unfazed by Zepeda's performance. Ellis made it clear that Tank's camp isn't shedding a single tear over Roach losing, because Zepeda's style plays straight into their hands. According to Ellis, Tank won't have to go looking for Zepeda in the ring. Zepeda's aggressive, forward-marching offense means he will run straight into heavy artillery.
Now, hot topic is obviously, you know, when people wanted to see Tank come back, they wanted to see him with certain names, Lamont Roach being one of them. Now, this loss coming off of 2 draws back-to-back, I mean, lots of people talking about, hey, we would rather see Tank versus Zepeda. How do you feel that fight plays out, knowing, you know, how his style is versus Tank's?
If that fight was to happen, of course, I don't want to be biased. I'm biased, but I'm rocking with Tank, and you know he ain't got to look for Zepeda. I see Zepeda running into a lot of shit if he was to fight Tank, you know.
Yeah. Would the pressure be a problem? Because it seemed like the pressure was a problem with Lamont.
It wouldn't be a problem with Tank. You know, Tank ain't got to look for him. Tank way stronger. Lamont hit Zepeda with some stuff, man, that I don't think he could take it if it was Tank.
Ellis dismissed the hype around Zepeda's volume, claiming that while Roach couldn't punish him, Zepeda simply cannot take the type of power Tank possesses. To top it off, Ellis laughed off modern training trends, calling expensive high-altitude camps in Big Bear or Vegas a pure social media myth, and insisting that raw street grit and elite conditioning beat high-tech altitude training every single day.
How do you see how does he fare with the other champions?
I mean, I never thought anything bad. I just always knew. I always said he wasn't a big puncher, but as a fighter, he's a good fighter, great fighter. You know, styles make fights. His pressure is what makes him. You know, he's not a big puncher, but he has pressure that big punchers don't have. So he could take the punch away from a big puncher just by standing in their face. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Some people punch in the early part of the fight, then they lose they torque at the end of the fight. Like I said, you gotta be able to do it every round with Zepeda, from the first round to the 12th. If you lose your torque halfway, he gonna get you if you don't get him out of there. You know, styles make fights.
Yeah, 100%. How do you feel like William Zepeda does with Abdullah Mason? Abdullah Mason was there that night.
Man, look. I'm rocking with Abdullah Mason, man.
Yeah.
I'm rocking with him. I think his body shots will slow Zepeda down. And he got that power too from first to 12th round. I think he can stop Zepeda.
Other boxing insiders and analysts have joined the debate, dissecting how this potential mega clash actually plays out. Top contenders like Abdullah Mason believe that while Zepeda's volume is scary, an elite body puncher with real knockout power can paralyze Zepeda's engine early.
The guy doesn't stop. He's so much fun to watch, as you just alluded to. I told you earlier, it reminds me in the UFC of Marab with that engine. I mean, it is unbelievable. It wasn't even close. He wins a unanimous decision. Exactly the pick you gave out, again, over at TeddyAtlasBoxing.com. The ropes will put up that report for everybody to see. But plus 320 when you gave it out. Zepeda to win by decision. Just want to give you the floor to tell us anything you didn't tell us before it all happened.
Yeah. Now listen, if he's got an engine, you know, we're going to use the analogy of a car. And Zepeda's a car, and he's a 12-cylinder. I mean, to your point, you don't stop. Listen, it's his mind, it's his mentality, it's his toughness, it's his Mexican heritage, it's his pride. You know, all the great fighters that come from there. It's all of that in a nutshell. He's gotten better. That year off helped him. It helped him. He was maybe fighting too often because he's the kind of guy. If he fights that way, you can imagine what his camps are like. Just think about it. Nobody's going to break that down that way. But if he fights the way he does, which tells you everything you know about the guy, then his camps are going to be, 100 miles an hour. His camps are going to be, there's no Sunday strolls in a park in his camp. I mean, so in other words, you potentially get worn out.
Analysts point out a dangerous paradox for Zepeda. His greatest weapon is standing right in his opponent's face to take away their punching leverage. But doing that against a southpaw power puncher like Tank means taking unfathomable risks. On the flip side, some analysts argue that if Tank starts slow as he notoriously does, Zepeda's non-stop wave of 800+ punches could steal early rounds and force Tank into a desperate back foot survival battle.
The thing that most surprised me was the size, right? The size of William Zepeda last night completely surprised me. It shocked me. I did not expect him to be that big. I didn't see that. I didn't see him being that big. So now Tank Davis responded to it and he clowns Lamont Roach, right? For losing to William Zepeda. He clowns him, right? And now it's trending. William Zepeda versus Gervonta Tank Davis. Adrian Broner says Tank will knock out William Zepeda. I don't know about that. I think if Tank fights William Zepeda, he's going to want a rehydration clause. William Zepeda is huge, bro. Lamont Roach was bigger than Tank Davis, and William Zepeda was a lot bigger than Lamont Roach last night. And he comes in that big and he's a southpaw with his work rate. Yes, he has still has defensive flaws, no doubt. But boy, oh boy, his size is going to give Lamont Roach, Tank Davis, all types of problems. He's going to give Tank Davis all types of problems. Do I think that Tank could knock him out? Yeah, because he has flaws. He still makes mistakes, and he still has flaws. I think Tank could catch him, but I think that's a tough fight. And I wouldn't be surprised if William Zepeda beats Gervonta Tank Davis. The layoff for Gervonta Tank Davis, the inactivity for Gervonta Tank Davis, he got 1 foot in the sport, 1 foot out the sport, the lack of commitment to the sport. He got all these distractions going on outside the ring. William Zepeda is the perfect storm at this stage in Tank Davis' career to upset Gervonta Tank Davis.
We are looking at a classic collision between unstoppable volume and immovable power. Zepeda proved he is far more than just a cardio machine, but stepping in front of Tank Davis is a completely different death wish. Will Zepeda's relentless pace finally be the key to overwhelming Tank, or will he become just another highlight reel knockout when he runs straight into a counter shot? Let me know what you think of this potential fight down in the comments. So that's all for today. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Stay tuned, and we will catch you in the next video.